Good morning. Welcome to Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. I want to invite you to join in as we start with our first two congregational songs. Lift your voice and let's fill the universe with song. Here we go.
Come on, everybody. Climb aboard the love train. 1, 2, 3, go. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. Well, the next stop we make will be England. Tell all the folks in Russia and China too. Don't you know that it's time to get on board? This train, keep on riding, riding on through. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. All of you brothers over in Africa, tell all the folks in Egypt and Israel too. Please don't miss this train at the station, 'cause if you miss it, I feel sorry, sorry for you. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train, love train. People all over the world, join hands, start a love train. Sometimes I'm right, I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah.
There is a blue one who can accept the green one, for living with the fat one, trying to be a skinny one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, cha-cha.
We got to live together. I am no better, and neither are you. We are the same, whatever we do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out the bag I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
such a rich one that will not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha.
We got to live together.
There is a yellow one that won't accept the black, one that won't accept the red, one that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha.
And everyday people.
Welcome back. My name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am so honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. So I want to take a moment to welcome everyone who is joining us from wherever you're joining us from on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. So I want to remind us of who we are and share with our guests who we are. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirits, that deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, to one another, and the world. And we experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures. And we intentionally, on purpose, shamelessly promote our community and our teachings. And one of the ways that you can help with that is to share this live stream on whatever social media platform that you play on. And if you have a friend that might appreciate this message, you can go to our YouTube page, Sierra Spiritual, grab that link and email it to them. So there's lots of ways to participate in spreading this message. Thank you. And so one of the things that we do every Sunday morning is our inclusion candle lighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all peoples, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the ways of primal spirituality. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. And so I invite you now, right where you are, Lift your voice. Let your neighbors hear how joy-filled you are this morning as we join in our next community song. Here we go.
I'm so glad somehow I got salvation now. Keeps spirit moving in my soul. Every day I find peace and joy at night. It keeps me singing, singing in my soul. Yes, I'm singing, oh, singing, singing in my soul. When the troubles roll, I sing from morning to night. It makes my body lighter. Yes, I'm singing, singing in my soul. Yeah. Every now and then something comes sneaking in, then I steal away and I pray. Yes, sometimes through the night comes music of delight, keeps me singing, singing in my soul. Yes, I'm singing, yes, I'm singing in my soul. When the troubles roll, when I sing from morning to night, it makes my burdens light. Yes, I'm singing, singing in my soul. Yes, again I'm singing, singing in my soul. When the troubles roll, when I sing from morning to night, they make my burden lighter. Yes, I'm singing, singing in my soul. Yes, I'm singing, singing in my soul.
So this is our time of announcements. I want to remind you of everything that's offered during the week to support your spiritual journey. Monday through Saturday from 8 to 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, we offer a daily morning meditation and prayer time. On Monday morning, Reverend Sarah Nichols hosts that on the Zoom link, and on Tuesday through Saturday, I host that, and it's available on the Zoom, the YouTube, and the Facebook link. On Tuesdays, we have the Actualizing Wholeness discussion group from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. It is a discussion group using the methodology of dialogue that came forward from the work of David Bohm, which really is a dive into the curiosity with no particular outcome in mind, to simply allow ourselves to be informed by the wisdom of the infinite that is within us. It is a lively discussion group, and I really encourage you to, at the minimum, check it out and see if it's for you. On Wednesday evenings, we have the 52-week Spiritual Activism Practices for 2021, which is taking a dive into a practical, active application of spiritual principles using the AGNT materials. AGNT is the Association of Global New Thought, and that is on Wednesday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Several folks requested that we extend the start date for spiritual economics to give them time to get their resources together, so we responded affirmatively to that request. And so the spiritual economics class will begin on March 4th and go through April 22nd. The early bird registration has been extended through February 28th. The full price between February 28th and March 4th. And then we still have the installment plan available to you. We do still have the 2 offerings Thursday mornings from 10 to 1 p.m. Pacific time and Thursday evening from 5 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. So if any of those call to you, encourage you to invest in yourself and sign up for this. This is a Centers for Spiritual Living certificated class, and so if you are taking classes for this practitioner track, this is one of the classes that may help you along the way, depending on other classes that you've selected. So check it out. We would love to have you join us.
So this is our time of inward shift. So I invite you to minimize the distractions in whatever space you're in. If you are driving, please keep your attention focused on your driving. So we will enter into a brief period of meditation, a contemplative meditation. And our practitioner this morning, Reverend Lanny Howard, will bring us out of the meditation with our opening spiritual mind treatment, followed by reading our affirmation. Enjoy. Observe what is going on in your life and know that you are not your experiences. I notice what is going on inside of me. What do I need to do to get to that space where I could be the happiest and the most powerful person in my world? If I have done a lot of work on myself and I understand the principles that what I think and say goes out from me and the universe responds and it comes back, then I observe myself. I watch myself without judgment and without criticism. This seems to be one of the biggest hurdles I have to make. Just look at myself objectively, all the things about me. Just note what they are without making comments. Just observe. As I allow myself the space to go inside and begin to notice what is going on, how I feel, how I react, what I believe. I come from a space where I am much more open. Today, I notice what is going on inside of me.
Let's take a breath together. And remember that which breathes us, that there is an infinite power, an infinite presence, an infinite life force that created everything out of itself, out of love, in peace, in harmony, in joy, in beauty, in truth, in justice, in grace. All of that and so much more present in the infinite now. And we are here by divine appointment to allow that essence of our truly wholeness, our true wholeness, to come through, to let us be who we are here to be, and to remember that this is a brand new baby day, that we are able to go from this moment forward with the lessons of the past, but not with the baggage of the past. So we are starting fresh with that inner wisdom, with that inner guidance, with that inner knowing that the power and presence is guiding and directing us in each and every moment to paths of peace, to paths of wholeness, to paths of love. And so let's just sink into that and realize that it is absolutely there. And as we do that, we bring it forth. We make it manifest. And we realize, in truth, a world that works for all. And so with great gratitude for this understanding, for this realization, for this divine connection being made in this moment, with love and with joy, I release my word into the law, knowing that the law responds by corresponding to this energy and brings it into perfect manifestation. And we affirm this together as we say, and so it is. And I'm Reverend Lanny Howard. I am your practitioner for the morning, and we get to do our affirmation together. So I'm going to say the affirmation once, and then we will say it together. So our affirmation is, with trust, joy, and delight, I let God be God in me. Let's say that together. With trust, joy, and delight, I let God be God in me. And so it is.
Shoes upon my feet, to share with you the light.
Let's take a breath together. Ah. And so our February theme is one journey, many paths. And last week, our topic was to be a clean slate. And I thank you for rolling with the replay last week. I am back in my body and 100% with you. And so I want to catch up a few things from that clean slate before we move into today's topic, the invisible made visible. Now, how many of us have had numerous occasions where we just had that sense that we just want to start over, just want a clean slate? And then there are those times where we get it, and some of us freeze up. It's that blank slate, that blank canvas that is this amazing open invitation to simply express and create. And if you're like many of us, you have grown up with messages about how you're supposed to fill that blank canvas. And what if we really took the rules off? What if we took all the barriers to our greatness and cleaned the slate to where we are allowing ourselves to experience that divine invitation of complete freedom to express what is uniquely ours to express, irregardless of what someone else thinks about that. Because we've all been raised with whatever should books we've gotten. We each have an individualized shouldapedia operating deep, deep, deep in our subconscious. You know, our parents thought we should have this kind of job, this kind of relationship. Society teaches us men should be this way, women should be this way. It doesn't even open the door for any gender identity beyond that until very recently. I can remember when I first started college, the joke for many of the women on campus was that they came to college to get their MRS. And I personally find that rather sad because we don't need to limit ourselves. But we do have to develop a comfort zone, if you will, with that blank slate. One of our tenets in Science of Mind is we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individualized life that works within a world that works for everyone. So I think that's a huge call to that blank slate. And it's not just giving ourselves a blank slate, but we have to give everybody else a blank slate too. We have to free ourselves from our shouldapedia, and then we can free others from projecting our shouldapedia onto them. Now that in no way is suggesting no holes barred, because, we go back to page 270. Does what I wish to do create more life, more joy, and at the same time harm no one? So we still have a litmus test, if you will, because we can misuse these principles. The creative process is working in every expression of Creator. And sometimes we fall into misuse of that creative process. And so we have to be mindful. We have to be aware. But what I do know is that Creator doesn't create in conflict with itself without some awareness in us that we're doing that. And that's that discomfort. That's that place within us that knows that the direction we're going isn't the best direction we could be going. And so we regroup and we come back. I like to think of it as a balance beam, if you will. And I don't think the goal is to stay on the balance beam 100% of the time as this human incarnation of Creator. I do think we get to be in a state of awareness where we notice how quickly have I fallen off the balance beam and how quickly can I get back. That's the blank slate. But that requires us to stop shooting on ourselves. So this idea of many paths, the reality to that is none of us know what is each other's desire to express. We know no more about what someone should be doing than we can fly without an airplane. And so perhaps the first step in that clean slate is to do our own process, our own journey of erasing. Now, one thing that I have done, because sometimes I need practical nuts and bolts things, write everything on a chalkboard and then erase it. Write everything that's holding you back down on paper and then safely burn it. Really find some ritual that will work for you. There is this really cool stuff in the sewing stores. It's for patterns, for embroidery patterns. And you can write, it just comes in 8.5 by 11, just like paper. And you can write everything on there that you want, that's in your way, that's limiting you, that needs to come off your slate to clean it. And then you can drop that in water and it literally dissolves. And so that's a ritual that you can use. But find something that will work for you to help you truly clean the slate. And then we move into making the invisible visible. Because we are physical manifestations of the invisible. We are holograms, if you will, in the quantum field. Now, Rev Lanny and I were having a conversation during the Tuesday night Actualizing Wholeness group. And the thing about holograms is everything is in the picture, but the more pieces of the whole you have, the more clear the hologram becomes. And so perhaps the first step in making the invisible visible is really developing that I-thou relationship, that inward journey, as Howard Thurman called it, to be present with the presence. Now, spiritual practice comes in a lot of forms. Meditation comes in a lot of forms. For as many people as there are that many ways to meditate. For as many people as there are that many ways to pray. For as many people as there are that many ways to study. And there are that many ways to give. I think what's important and what really drives the the success of all of this is mindfulness. Are we showing up because we feel obligated? Or are we showing up because there's something alive in us that compels us to express? That we're doing it with excitement, and that nothing in this earthly realm, there is no barrier big enough or strong enough to stop that compulsion to express. My experience is that only comes when I do the work of that inward journey. When I study. And the inward journey is mine, but the study happens in groups of people. Now, some of it happens individually. There's no denying that. But it's an amazing thing that happens when we come together and hear ideas from other divine expressions of God that spark oh, that sounds familiar, but I don't know why, in us. Well, it's familiar because it's just another part of us sharing its experience. This thing of oneness, I think, is the most challenging thing for us to grasp in human form, because we live in a realm where everything is made individual, and sometimes to the level of toxicity, where we're so focused on the individual journey that we literally forget that we are connected by one breath, by one life, by one substance. We forget that we are a wave in an infinite ocean that rises and moves and resolves back into that infinite ocean. Never is the wave separate from the ocean. And in truth, even the droplets of the spray, though they appear to separate momentarily from the ocean, in the science of moisture and water, they are never separate. And I think we're a lot like that in terms of our human form. We appear very separate, but we're not. And so the quickest path, and I laugh even at the word quickest, to making the infinite, the invisible, visible in form, I think Joel Goldsmith really gives us what we need there. Put into practice what you already know as a means to having prayers answered. The painter paints, the dancer dances, the chef cooks. But what of the mystic? Mystical living is not intellectually achieved. The mystic lives the mystical experience by letting God be God as them. And so we meditate and we pray and we listen and we catch those divine nudges to express with full awareness that that is God expressing in the form of us. And we say yes. And that takes us back to that blank slate. It's open to create. The invitation is to say yes. So I invite you this week to just notice. Notice how you respond to those. Notice the hesitation to say yes. And begin to explore. Write down what's in the way. Write down all of the mental noise that inhibits you from your full, unrestrained, unrestricted yes. And we'll follow into that a little bit more next week. Let's take this into prayer. I recognize that the divine is closer than my breath, that it is in fact breathing me. And the same breath that is breathing me is breathing all of life, whole, perfect, and complete. And so I speak my word, committing myself this week to be in that infinite yes, to be in that place of practicing the presence, to allow God to be God as me, to embrace so that I can neutralize any resistance. And so I release any need to resist the resistance. And I welcome it, as Rumi said. I welcome every guest into the guest house, even if it appears to be there to sweep my house clean of its furniture. I open to that blank slate, knowing that the divine within me is ready to fill that canvas again and again with the divine expression of itself. And I know that the word I speak for all of humanity. And so I celebrate. I celebrate that the word spoken is the word done. And so I know in the law of manifestation that it's already done. It's already complete. There is no waiting period. And so I let go of this construct of time and space and simply live in the knowingness that it's already fulfilled. And so I let go of any idea that I need to control or compel spirit to act. And instead, I listen and say yes. I invite you to make these words your own as we say together, Amen, Amen, Shalom, Aho, Ashe, and so it is. Thank you. So take another breath with me, if you will, as we shift into our time of intentional giving. And I want to remind everybody that we do talk about tithing here, and tithing is giving a percentage of your income, your time, your talent, your treasures to support work that spiritually feeds you. And so if you have been spiritually fed here this morning, I invite you to join us in the spiritual practice of giving. I invite you to consider entering into an ongoing spiritual practice of regular tithing. Just play with the idea. And so we're going to say our prosperity affirmation together. And it's there on your screen now. And so let's read this together. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And so you'll see there at the bottom of the screen ways that you can give. You can go directly to our website, www.sierracenter.org. Scroll across the top to the donate page. It will take you to the page where you can donate directly from there. While you're there, take a moment to notice other ways that you can give. We have partnerships with Amazon. You can give through Amazon Smile. It's really very, very simple. When you open your Amazon account, you just go to Amazon Smile, find Sierra Center for Spiritual Living, click on that, and a portion of every dollar you spend is donated to us through Amazon. And so that is also there. We have eScript places that's outlined there. And so I encourage you, while that mental construct may say, I don't spend that much money, every little bit makes a difference. Because if 200 people do that, even if it's a tiny amount, 200 tiny amounts show up as a significant amount. And so we celebrate every contribution, regardless of size, regardless of where it comes from. We celebrate the spiritual practice of giving. So I invite you to join in that with us. If you want to send your gift by mail, you can send that to Sierra Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 2714, Grass Valley, California, 95945. If you would like prayer, also on our website is an invitation to fill out a prayer request form. I encourage you to do that. You can also find the information for all of our practitioners on our website under the Meet Us tab, and reach out. You do not have to walk through anything alone. We are here to support you. We love praying with you. So reach out and we will do that. I do know the practitioners are planning an equinox offering where we will be doing live prayer with folks in Zoom. And the beauty of that is we can break you out in a breakout room, one-on-one with a practitioner in a private space, and you can receive prayer. And so we're looking forward to that. There'll be more information on that next week. And so we'll be on Zoom immediately after the service. If you want to come hang out and chat and connect and socialize, we'd love to spend a little bit of time with you. So please consider joining us on Zoom immediately after our closing song. Here we go. Let's work together.
One, two, three, four.